Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Professor Scott, you, in your testimony, you talked about, you gave your observations on the Volcker rule and its implementation. And I'm concerned that, that Europe, other countries will not adopt the Volcker rule, which leaves U.S. financial institutions to go it alone and making our financial sector less competitive and forcing perhaps businesses and jobs to leave the U.S. for Europe. Could the Volcker rule be implemented so that it makes our financial system more stable without needlessly making our financial system less competitive?
We need to be very careful how we implement the Volcker rule. I mean, I was not one that supported the Volcker rule in the first place. Let me be very clear on that. But having adopted the Volcker rule, if we keep it in place, I think we should interpret it narrowly, not broadly. And I've offered a definition in my testimony as how that could be done. So if we don't do that, Congresswoman, we are going to be doing two bad things, in my view. First of all, we're going to suffer a lack of competitiveness because our competitive institutions abroad all do this proprietary trading. Indeed, if you go back to the Glass-Steagall reform, it was to put us on an even competitive balance, in part, that we liberalized Glass-Steagall, and now here we are going in the other direction. But we've done it. All I'm saying is let's be conservative how we implement it. Secondly, actually, a very broad Volcker rule, in my mind, can impact the safety and soundness of our institutions. These activities, in some ways, were diversification from typical lending, okay, and therefore, over a long period of time, made these institutions more stable. And this was not the cause of the financial crisis. You know, Goldman Sachs profited a lot by its proprietary trading activities during the financial crisis. If they'd all been making loans, we would have been worse off. So, you know, I think we should be very conservative in the way we implement the Volcker.
Well, I haven't been real happy with it either. Do you think that it would be better not to have it at all, or does it provide the stability that's needed?
Could you?
I just wondered
It's not you.
if would it be better not to have the Volcker rule at all, or does it provide the stability if it's narrowly defined?
Yes, I'm on record saying we shouldn't have a Volcker rule. I testified in the Senate on that. Okay. I think we would be better off without a Volcker rule. But having gotten the Volcker rule,
okay.
I think we should be conservative in how we implement it.
All right, thank you. Then, Professor Taylor, in your testimony, you commented about the fact that the unemployment rate is inversely correlated with private investment. Could you comment further on the ways that we can help spur the private investment and create jobs? And I'm doing the housing subcommittee, so if that relates at all, that would be helpful to me.
Sure, it's correct. It's both the housing, residential investment, and business fixed investment. They're both highly correlated, and you can just see that in the residential much more clearly, where the pockets of high unemployment are, right where we had the biggest boom bust in housing. You know, Nevada is a classic extreme. So, but it's also business fixed investment. And here it seems to me the most important thing to do is to not be raising, I say not raise taxes on businesses, period. Try to find ways to reduce them where you can. The corporate rate's still very high. I think it's very important to think about these regulatory issues, which some of you have raised in your opening remarks, both on the financial side but also on the healthcare side. That really restricts the incentives for businesses to start up, whether it's small or big. And these startups or these expansions is what investment is. And so investment grows, and you hire people to build the equipment or construct the structure, and that's the most important thing in my view. I think there tends to be too much emphasis on kind of short-term things, short-term stimulus to investment, and that maybe it works a little bit, but then it peters out, and then we're stuck in the same situation. So I would think more long-term, sustainable types of things.
And can you give an example of that?
Oh, yeah, say the short-term incentives for businesses to write off for a period of time. They sound good, but then they go away, and it's reversed. So if you can keep the tax rates stable and certain, so that a business, or you build a structure or a new plant, the returns are going to be coming out for many years, not just 1 year. And
Everything
that's what I
seems to depend on uncertainty, it seems like, that we have right now. Thank you.